Hey everyone, welcome to this special episode of the Ripple Effect podcast by Ripple Baseball. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Uh, this past week, I sat down with one of our head coaches, Joe Gunn, for an episode. But unfortunately, due to some audio issues, we're not going to be able to use that video, which is okay. We can always pivot to what we're doing right now. I will get back with Joe Gunn to talk in the future. We had a great conversation. I mean, learned a ton about Joe and his past and kind of why he does everything that he does, the way he does it, who he is as a person, as a coach, and where all that came from. But today, what I want to do, which is a little bit different, is spend some time answering some questions or hitting on some topics that were proposed to us. I don't know if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, Ripple Baseball put out a poll or a question um, onto our Instagram story about what topics do you want us to talk about. And one that came through from one of our longtime athletes, Jackson Grind, he asked about pitch sequencing. So every now and again, we, with this podcast, want to kind of do a quicker, more informative podcast on topics like this. Okay. So let's just jump right into it. So when it comes to pitch sequencing, I think for me, as a coach, as a trainer, the Ripple philosophy is we need to first understand who we are as pitchers, right? So everybody throws a fastball. Some people's fastballs are built different than others. So if you have a really good fastball, okay, let's pitch with it. If we don't, okay, we need to work on it. But what makes us special individuals? Okay, so I think that's important to know. Understand what your best secondary pitch is, right? I think there's a lot of people out there who think that, hey, every pitcher needs to have this or every pitcher needs to have that. Well, some of those pitches are hard for people, right? So what I don't want to do is I don't want to put them into a position to where they have to start they actually start failing doing something that they're not good at in game situation. Okay. And lastly, something I think that's important when it comes to pitch sequencing is having the ability to read swings. Um, that's something that I had no idea about until towards the end of my career. And I think that's something that's super valuable and that I'm excited to pass on. All right. So to continue, I think when it comes to what pitch we throw when, really just comes down to the situation, comes down to the count, and it comes down to what you feel confident in at that time, right? I know for a lot of us, especially like in the high school, college level, coaches are calling pitches, right? So really we don't have much say in what we throw, but we can still read. A lot of times they still give you the ability to shake off and throw what you want to throw. We still read hitter swing, so when that next sign comes down, we know what we're trying to do with it. Um, I think a great way of understanding the hitter that you're facing is by throwing fastballs. Okay, if you get a called for a fastball inside, throw that thing inside. If you hit him, you hit him. It doesn't matter. Okay. Most hitters, in my opinion, don't know what an inside fastball is. They think that they can hit it. They don't realize that inside fastballs for strikes are pretty in there. And then they also like to expand. So by doing this, we can get a feel for what the hitter's approach is. Okay. If they hit that ball, most likely what they're going to do, if they hit it hard, it's going to be foul. Okay. If you have this like happen, you now know they just sold out for it, right? They can't hit a fastball in and a breaking ball away or something soft away. So that's information. Okay. Stuff like that. But this all comes from, understanding what makes you special and what you do well. So I just said throwing a fastball in, right? Some people can't do that. That's hard to do. So what I don't want as a coach and what I don't want as a trainer is to tell somebody to start throwing fastballs in when they can't make that pitch. Okay. So I think that's a huge takeaway from today. And really, you know, we'll get into it a little bit deeper, but throw what you can throw. Don't throw what you think you're supposed to throw, if that makes sense. Um, I think for me personally, throwing fastballs down and away, which is by the book, was very difficult. So for me, it was like, okay, I had a good fastball up. I'm gonna throw that fastball up. If I get after it a little bit too hard, it might end up and in. Okay, that pairs well with my breaking ball. All right. But if I'm trying so hard to throw that ball down the way and I can't, now I'm giving up base hits and I'm failing at something that I can control, that I know that I'm not good at. So why would I consistently do it and have failure, right? So when I say that, that doesn't mean that we don't work at it, right? The more pitches that we can throw, the better pitchers we can be, right? So we still want to work on these types of things, and there's a time and place for all of these pitches, even if you're not good at them. But at the end of the day, we're looking for success in game. So so with that, we need to be able to throw any pitch in any count. Okay. Now, the caveat to that is that any pitch doesn't literally mean any pitch. It means any pitch that you can throw for a strike or that you can execute. That's kind of going back to what I just said. So we want guys to be able to throw 2-0 breaking balls, 2-0 changeups, right? 2-1 breaking balls, 2-1 changeups, 2-0 fastballs, 1-2 fastballs, 0-2 fastballs. But at the same time, we're not throwing something, we're not throwing any pitch in any count without that conviction, without the without the belief that we can actually make that pitch, if that makes sense to you guys. So, you know, we ran into this a little bit last year while I was coaching, is we might have somebody who's struggling to throw strikes, right? Okay. Every batter starts off 2-0. Every batter starts off 2-1, 3-0, and we're trying to work back into it, okay? The f- we would then see the same kid, or we'll have the pitcher start off 0-1. Okay, great. We're ahead. We're in a position to be aggressive, okay? Now, this is before we start calling pitches as a staff, but next pitch is a breaking ball for a ball. Okay, now we're back to 1-1. Now we're back to throwing breaking ball again. Now it's 2-1. So really throwing that first pitch strike didn't help us at all because we started throwing pitches that we couldn't throw consistently for strikes in the zone. Um and and if we can't throw secondary pitches in the zone, then we're not going to get guys to chase out of the zone and we're going to get guys to be sitting on fastballs. So the biggest thing for me when it comes to pitching in a game now with like that type of information in mind is, okay, can we get ahead? All right, now that we're ahead, can we stay ahead? Can we stay in the zone? And I don't mind if you have good stuff. I don't mind you throwing two strike pitches in the zone or close to the zone. They don't have to be buried. They don't have to be like the so-called waste pitches of the past. Okay, there's a lot of times that you see in baseball where we get an 0-2 breaking ball and you try to bury it and you get it down there and right before it bounces, the guy sticks his bat out and hits the ball right over the second baseman or right over the shortstop. And he's got a single. Okay. Now you're getting yelled at as it from the bench. Like the coach, you come off and he's like, hey, you gotta get that pitch down. You gotta bounce it. We can't make that mistake, whatever. Okay, next inning, same thing. You throw an 0-2 breaking ball. It stays right down the middle. The guy either takes it for strike three, he swings, misses, he grounds out, whatever. Nobody's saying a word. Okay, and that's just baseball. So by having this understanding, hopefully it gives the pitcher more freedom. Right? We don't have to be perfect all the time. When we try to be perfect, our stuff kind of gets worse because we're so focused on where it's going to end up. So focused on all these other things other than what we can control, which is spin, movement, release point, stuff like that. So when it comes to, pitch choices, I really think when it comes down to, if you take away everything I just said, the most important things when it comes to what you're throwing, when you're throwing it, is, do you understand who you are as a pitcher? Do you understand what makes you special? Do you understand what you struggle at? Right? While when you're throwing bullpens, when you're out there on the mound, do you have a plan? And you don't have to be perfect in order to have a plan, and you don't need to have a perfect plan to have success. Okay. When we are out there, we need to know, what do we do well? All right. What what can I throw in any count? What pitches can I throw in any count? Knowing that I have something else behind it. I had a great coach, my pitching coach in college. He taught me, I didn't hear this till I got to college. If you have one pitch, you can compete. You have two pitches, you give your team a chance to win. And if you have three pitches working that day, you have a chance to dominate that day. Okay. So for your team, you only need one, right? If you only have a fastball a day, you're still giving your team a chance. All right. You have two, you're putting your team in a good chance of winning. Okay. You have the ability to go out there, throw multiple innings, and get a win. If you have three, and there's not many days like this, you're going to dominate. Okay. Now, all I'm saying is now we take that information that we just, we gathered from our bullpens, from our in games, from our confidence, from what's going on in our brain, and we turn it into a plan. And we don't try to be too perfect, and we just try to do our job. Okay. So hopefully from this quick episode, it gave you a little bit of information into the way that our brains work here at Ripple, in terms of pitching and pitch design, and actually, well, more like pitch sequencing, right? Like racing to two strikes so we can then throw whatever we want, 0-2, or first two out of three pitches for strikes. So now we're 1-2 a lot more than we are 2-1. Um, but at the end of the day, throw your best stuff all the time. And if you get beat throwing your best stuff, that's okay. You can live with that. If you get beat trying to be somebody that you're not, now we have to look in the mirror and say, why did we do that? And why aren't we just attacking and being aggressive with our best stuff, or what makes us special? Because at the end of the day, hitting's hard. And if we can just throw our best stuff out there, we have a good chance of having success. Okay. As a pitcher, especially at Ripple, we like to think, hey, my best stuff is better than that hitter. Okay. Now, that guy has to prove that he can touch it. All right. So thank you guys for joining me on this first episode of if you guys think of a name for these quick ones, these one-on-ones, please put it in the comment. But no, appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you listening. If you could subscribe, follow, give us a like, we would really appreciate it. It helps us out. And yeah, look forward to having another one. Appreciate you guys. Bye.